I don't remember much of my early childhood, minus the smell of gunpowder and blood. I remember the feeling of being hungry, tired, and cold all the time. One day I wandered through the streets of a nameless war-torn town in some country in the world. I was losing all hope and strength that I had gathered up to that point, and ended up crawling into some ruins of a destroyed building, destined to die. Then, as if an angel sent by Sagi herself, an older man found me in those ruins of that destroyed building, withering away slowly but surely. He slowly reached out his hand to me, but I do not remember what happened immediately after that. The next thing I knew, I woke up in a bed in some inn somewhere, cleaned and freshened up. I slowly got out of the bed and slowly walked over to the nearest mirror. It was the first time I've ever seen myself. I was clearly malnourished. You could see every bone pretty much. I had slumped in eyes with huge bags underneath. As I sat there and stared at the creature that was before me, I heard the door open and a deep thunderous voice spoke.
I see you're finally awake.
I turned to the voice in that direction to see a towering muscular figure in front of me, with long flowing silver hair and had a smooth skinned face. I noticed one key feature. His right hand was missing, and in its place was a mechanical limb. He shut the door behind him and he walked over to the small table in the corner of the room. As he walked past me, I could smell something that smelled like the gods themselves had made it. He proceeded to set it out on the table and turned to me saying,
"Why are you just staring, young child? Come, eat to your heart's content. But take your time. We don't need you to throw it all back up."
I proceeded to cautiously walk over and sit down. In front of me were simple eggs and bacon, nothing fancy. But when I took the first bite, I couldn't stop myself from finishing everything in front of me. As I finished the entire plate, I felt tears running down my face. I broke down into a crying spree, and that's when the old man came over to me, squatting down and stared into my eyes.
"You feel this feeling, right? I have a question for you, young one. Do you want to continue walking the streets with nothing to live for? No food at the end of the night? No clothing or shelter to keep you warm? Or do you want to fight for a new beginning? Fight for a whole new beginning? Making a brand new person?"
I nodded in agreement, continuing to cry.
"Well then, young child, do you have a name?"
I proceeded to shake my head.
"Well, young one, from this day forward you'll go by the name of Jackson Mitchell, and you are now a member of the mercenary group called the Mystic Wolves."
As I finish telling this tale, Daiko jumps out of the watch into her human form, then proceeds to wave her hand in front of my face, stating,
"Hey, Jackson. Hello?"
To which snapped me back to reality. I started to wonder why when I see Aurora crying over on the other side of the table. This is the second part of my story that she is hearing. Daiko, the president, and Aurora are the only other people that know that I come from another world. It's so weird how it all happened. One night, I was back home. I would just finish streaming, and as soon as I hit the end stream button on the program and went to go take a nap before work, I suddenly found myself in front of a deity with no shape or form to it. They claimed to be a god of this world that I'm currently in. They said they called me here to aid them in a war that will tear the world apart. I pleaded to them, how can I, a streamer and a nobody, aid to help a world-ending war? The being ignored me and continued to speak.
"Your quick thinking and knowledge will help guide you in the futures ahead. I, Sagi, give you my word you will not be stuck here. You will be transported back and forth to your old world once you take a deep rest."
As I started to speak again, Sagi opened up a black void below me and I fell in. The next thing I knew, I was a small child in a destroyed town, to which my new life began to unfold right in front of me. As I finished reminiscing, Daiko was lightly slapping me on the face to get me back to reality.
"Joe, come back to us."
With that jolt to my ears, I snap back to reality, and I stand up from the table. As I do, Aurora puts her bag on the table and speaks up.
"Jackson, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. But please know that me and the group love you and are glad that you're in our lives."
I rubbed Daiko on the head and walked over to Aurora to do the same. After a couple minutes, Aurora started to turn back to normal. Once she had calmed down, I headed over to the door to undo the leather strap for my revolver. Daiko noticed me making my way to the door and asked,
"So, fearless leader, what's the plan now?"
I look over to Daiko. "Alright, Daiko, time to hop back in. We're about to fight our way through this town and make our way to the Allied base." Daiko does a corny salute and teleports back to the watch. I pick up my drink off the table, chug the rest of it in one go, and I proceed to stack up to the door leading to the street and wait for Aurora to get ready to leave. I started to think on what I'll do tonight when I head to sleep and get teleported back to my actual reality. It's much more peaceful there than it is here in Galeria, right now with the Civil War breaking out. Once I feel Aurora on my back, I proceeded to pull out my wave revolver and kick the door open and run out to the streets.